Imagine staring right at your portfolio and suddenly realizing that your absolute biggest winner has turned into your heaviest anchor. It's a completely brutal feeling, right? But here is the undeniable truth. At the end of the day, our habits, our emotions, and our daily behaviors completely dictate our financial success, period. And human psychology tells us that the absolute hardest thing for our brains to do is to just admit defeat and accept a painful financial loss. We are literally biologically wired to hold on. We want to hope things turn around rather than just ripping off the Band-Aid. So in this explainer, we're going to unpack exactly why I finally sold Adobe for a loss, and we'll dive into the 6 stocks I'm buying right now in this major portfolio update, all through that powerful lens of human behavior.
So why is admitting defeat the absolute hardest thing for an investor to do? Well, it's because taking a 20% loss on a massive giant like Adobe feels exactly like sitting down for a grim press conference after your favorite sports team just totally blew the big game. You've been rooting for them, you know all the stats, you deeply believe in the fundamentals, but the scoreboard is glaring at you, and it says you lost. It is never, ever fun. But honestly, recognizing that exact psychological block is your first crucial step to freeing up your capital.
And that brings us to the pain of defeat, why Adobe had to go, and the psychology of cutting your losses. What we're really looking at here is the Adobe's future versus PayPal's past trap, because the fear of AI disruption, specifically from large language models like ChatGPT or Midjourney, has completely changed the psychological narrative around Adobe. The market isn't anxious that they're going to go bankrupt tomorrow. No, the anxiety is that their long-term growth is permanently stunted. Adobe obviously has an amazing business model with incredible recurring revenue, but just like PayPal, which prints money but totally lost its double-digit growth engine, Adobe risks being trapped at single-digit PE ratios. When the broader market decides your fast growth days are officially over, you become what we call dead money for years, regardless of how much cash you're generating today. So what exactly is dead money? Simply put, it's capital tied up in an investment that shows little to no growth for an extended period, which actively prevents you from seizing way better opportunities. Look at it this way. If Adobe's base case only yields a 9 or 10% return over the coming years, human logic dictates you might as well just park that money safely in the S&P 500. The opportunity cost of just sitting around waiting for the market to forgive Adobe is simply way too high.
Let's flip the script now. Anatomy of a turnaround. The patience required to win with Estee Lauder and Nike. We're moving from the pain of defeat to the exact opposite emotion, the thrill of a turnaround. This is where mastering your anxiety and holding your nerve can lead to massive paydays. What's truly incredible here is the hidden leverage within a turnaround. Take a look at this. Estee Lauder had a tiny, seemingly insignificant 3% rise in skincare revenue. But mathematically, because they optimized their operations and strictly kept their costs down, that tiny little revenue bump boosted their operating income by a massive 23%. This is the exact moment an investment goes from merely treading water to absolutely printing money.
And they accomplish this by fundamentally understanding modern human behavior. As management noted, and I love this quote, they don't need more brands. In the day and age of social media, it's just about marketing. Instead of giving in to the classic, almost reflexive corporate habit of merging and buying more brands, which, let's be real, usually just brings massive restructuring fees, Estee Lauder smartly walked away from a costly deal. They're focusing purely on digital consumer behavior, actively marketing their existing powerhouse brands directly to consumers on platforms like TikTok and Instagram. So the absolutely crucial point here is that this exact same turnaround psychology applies directly to Nike right now. Nike stock has been aggressively beaten down into the 40s, and the market is completely treating it like the brand is fundamentally broken. But come on, consumer habits around athletics haven't just vanished into thin air. It demands the vision to buy in the 40s before it inevitably jumps back to the 70s and 80s. You have to buy when the psychology is fearful, knowing full well the brand dominance is permanent.
Let's shift gears entirely to the consumer habit loop and exactly why we spend with American Express. Think about this. If AI is threatening enterprise software, what on earth is completely immune to AI disruption? The answer is human ego, wealth building, and our deeply rooted travel habits. There is a perfectly mapped, completely predictable human behavioral cycle to wealth building. Step 1, you build basic credit with starter cards. Step 2, as your career actually advances, you gain wealth and a super strong desire to travel. Step 3, you upgrade to a premium Amex card, actively seeking that prestige. And finally, Step 4, you gladly pay those hefty annual fees and spend more just to earn those reward points. This entire loop is hardwired right into modern consumer psychology, making American Express an absolute financial fortress.
But obviously, we can't ignore the tech sector entirely. Let's tackle the AI disruption anxiety and separate market fear from reality. Wall Street is incredibly emotional right now, and the panic over artificial intelligence is creating some massive blind spots, particularly when we look at enterprise software. Let's break down this enormous market disconnect. The fear out there is that tools like Adobe and Intuit get fully replaced by LLMs because the end user can just totally bypass them. But the reality is completely different for companies like ServiceNow and Salesforce. Human sales teams and IT departments are so deeply integrated into these specific platforms that they simply can't just be swapped out overnight. Instead, these platforms are going to actually thrive on AI integration through what we call agentic workflows, basically acting as smart agents that make human workers incredibly fast and efficient.
Moving on to finding growth and value. This is all about overcoming panic with hard projections.
When you strip away all of the market's emotional panic, you really start to find incredible hidden value. A prime example of this is the turnaround happening quietly over at a small cap stock called The Honest Company. What's absolutely fascinating here is the sheer absurdity of the valuation. The Honest Company has a total market cap of around $350 million. But look at this. 90 million of that is pure cash with absolutely zero debt. That essentially means you are buying the actual underlying business for just $260 million. The CEO is making the brilliant, super disciplined choice to shrink short-term revenue just to massively boost long-term profitability. That creates a severely undervalued microcap opportunity.
And if we look logically at Celsius, it becomes an absolute must-buy. Why? Because when you use hard math instead of pure emotion, the picture is incredibly clear. Just look at these projections. Even in an absolute disaster, worst-case bear scenario where their growth drops all the way down to just 5%, the math still predicts a 10% expected compound annual growth rate. Think about that. That means even if everything goes horribly wrong, you'd likely still beat the S&P 500. And in the base case, you are looking at a 34 to 40% expected return.
Now, the temptation trap, the discipline to avoid fatal shortcuts.
Let me be incredibly clear. All this wonderful analysis we just went through means absolutely nothing if you fall victim to the worst psychological trap in investing. This is where your own greed can absolutely be your undoing. Look at that number, almost $2 million, $1,990,000. And guys, this isn't theoretical. Your brokers will actively tempt you by dangling nearly $2 million in margin debt right in front of your face in your portfolio screen. They purposefully make it look like a magical, super easy button that can just double your wealth overnight.
The rule here is incredibly simple. Don't do it. Seriously, avoid the margin trap. You must exercise unbreakable psychological discipline to just ignore their tricks. Because when the market inevitably dips, and it always does, messing with margin is the fastest, most brutal way to completely destroy your portfolio. It quite literally forces you to sell your best companies at their absolute lowest prices just to cover your debts.
And you desperately need to hold those shares for what's coming next. Finally, we arrive at the ultimate test of an investor's mindset, the 52-week low psychological test. Just look at these absolute heavyweights: Salesforce, Nike, American Express, PayPal, Celsius, ServiceNow. Holding a multi-million-dollar portfolio where incredible, totally dominating companies are sitting near 52-week lows requires immense emotional endurance. It is flat-out exhausting to log in and look at a sea of red.
But if you can just master your emotions, intentionally reject the panic, and hold through the pain for the next 12 to 24 months, the result is so simple. The run will be legendary. These world-class stocks will not stay down forever. You just have to survive the psychology of the present to reap all the rewards of the future.
We've covered a ton of ground today in this explainer, from the actual visceral pain of cutting your losers, all the way to the extreme patience required to hold massive future winners. So I want to leave you with this final, extremely important question. Are you letting your emotions manage your money, or are you finally ready to master your psychology to build true generational wealth? Thank you so much for exploring these complex portfolio dynamics with me, and if you like, please subscribe and follow with like and share.